Hi guys, this is Magic from Your English Upgrade, and today I have an experiment, something that I've been working on for quite a while now. It's going to be called a Grammar, Vocabulary and Pronunciation Digest, and what I have for you here are 5 sentences that you need to correct, and also 3 words that you need to try to pronounce correctly. These sentences all contain errors that language learners make very, very often. These are typical traps that language learners fall into. And then when it comes to pronunciation, well, guess what? These 3 words you see there at the bottom are also incredibly often mispronounced by learners of English. So, pause the video now. Have a look at these 5 sentences and think on how to correct them. Try to identify the error and try to think what the correct form of the verb or the word should be. And then, of course, have a look at pronunciation and think to yourself without looking into the dictionary, but try to think how you would pronounce those words there at the bottom. And once you're ready, unpause the video and let's start correcting it. So let's have a look at our first sentence. I'm looking forward to come back home. Well, it's great basically that you're trying to use the phrasal verb to look forward to, but what you need to remember is that after look forward to, there needs to be an ing. That's right, this verb there is wrong. We can't use the infinitive after look forward to. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, hey, but there is a to. And ing after to? Sounds rather strange, right? But that's exactly what you need here. It's look forward to something, and when you've got something, the word something, if you need to use a verb form after that, it's going to be with ing. Always. Always. So, in here, we need to say, I'm looking forward to coming back home. That's the correct and the only correct version of this sentence. So a tip for you here, always remember to use the verb plus ing if you need a verb after look forward to. Yeah, and I'm saying if you need a verb because of course you can say I'm looking forward to the trip tomorrow, and that's also going to be absolutely fine. But if you wanted to use a verb and said, for example, I'm looking forward to going on the trip tomorrow, to coming on the trip tomorrow, all of those verbs after look forward to are going to be with an ing. Moving on to our next sentence. What did you think the mistake was here? This is a very, very typical one, a super typical one. And the problem is, again, guess what? With the verb. And it's a problem because what we're talking about is that this action has been going on for many years. I don't know if you've just heard what tense I used. Listen again. This action has been going on or has gone on for many years. Which tense was I using? Present perfect. And I was using present perfect because I'm saying for many years. In other words, I'm connecting the past and the present. And in here, I have 2 equal options. I can either say she has worked in this company for many years, present perfect simple, perfectly respectable option, no problem here. Or I can also say she has been working in this company for many years, another great option. The difference for advanced students here, the difference between present perfect simple and present perfect continuous in these situations is that when you use present perfect continuous, you're putting more emphasis on the action. For some reason, it's more important for you and you need to emphasize it. On the other hand, if you just used present perfect simple, again, perfectly fine, but it's just a fact for you. She has worked at this company for many years. Perfect. So whenever you are connecting past and present, try to think, it has to be present perfect. And it's a very, very common, let's say, area of difficulty for learners because very often when we want to make sentences about how long we have lived somewhere or how long we have worked somewhere, how long we have known someone, and we use either for or since, in those sentences, it's very typical, it's very normal for us in our own languages to use the present simple tense. But in English, nah. Let's move on to the next sentence. And it's one of my favorite ones. And it's because I teach English to a lot of students from Italy, from Spain, from Poland. And for us, because I'm also Polish, the word responsible in our own languages can be used as a noun. In English, responsible, which is, as you have guessed, the problem in this sentence, is only an adjective. It can only be used as an adjective. It can't be used as a noun. So in here, it simply doesn't make sense grammatically to say he is the responsible. It sounds really bad. So what we need to do is we need to replace this. Now, if we wanted to use the word responsible and use it in an adjective, we would have to say he's responsible for managing the contracts. And do remember that responsible comes with for. We are responsible for something, never responsible of, responsible for. So yeah, you can say he's responsible for managing contracts. A nice little ing there. But in English, typically when you're talking about responsibilities, especially responsibilities in the context of work, what you're going to use is the expression to be in charge of something. And that's a much more natural expression in this context. So we're going to say, he is in charge of managing contracts. So do remember this thing to be in charge of. It's very common, natural English in the context of work. Moving on to our next sentence. And this is another very, very typical error. It's a vocabulary error, and I hope you have guessed that the problem was with the verb again. But this time it's not a problem with tenses, it's a problem with how we use that verb within the sentence. And the verb say is followed by different grammar structures. We can't say somebody. It's not possible in English to do that. So there's a way of using say in the sentence, and you would have to say, I said to them that I would be interested. This works perfectly fine. So you say to somebody. I said to them that I would be interested. But it's more natural, probably in this situation, to replace the verb say with tell and say, I told them that I would be interested. So remember, say and tell, even though they mean the same thing, essentially, they're used differently at the level of grammar in the sentence. So say something to somebody and tell somebody something. Now we've got one more sentence to go, and again, I hope that you were able to identify the error. And the error lies again in vocabulary in the sentence, and the problem word is experiment. It's a false friend in many languages. But guess what? You can't really experiment different situations in English. It's just not the meaning. You need to replace this word with experience. Two different things, experiment and experience. You can't really experiment a situation, you can only experience it. And on this note, I'd recommend, if you have a moment, to type up false friends in your mother tongue. So for example, for me it would be English false friends in Polish, and I just have a look through this list, because chances are that you're using some words in English which you think mean the same as they do in Polish, but they actually mean something completely different. So yeah, time well invested. And then, moving on to pronunciation, we've got our 3 words, and the first one, again, oh my goodness, it's one of my favorite ones, because people who work in business should really pronounce it correctly. But the thing is that if you're a non-native speaker, it's a very difficult word to say, because what we can see here is chase, right? At the end, those last 5 letters here. Is it 5? Yeah, it's 5 letters. They would be pronounced as chase if this word was on its own. But this is not purchase, okay? Not like that. Please, 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 because you'll simply cause a big communication problem if you say this word like this. This word is stressed on the first syllable, and because of that, those last 5 letters here are pronounced in a very, very short way. Listen, purchase, purchase. That's right. It's a very, very counterintuitive word, so let's practice it in a couple of sentences. Listen and repeat. They purchased a new property. They purchased a new property. Can you give me the invoice for our last purchase? Can you give me the invoice for our last purchase? Well done, I hope it was helpful and we've still got 2 more to go. So let's have a look at this next one. How would you say it? What's the correct pronunciation here? Well, again, this is a counterintuitive word, but what you need to remember is a little trick that words in English that start with N-E-U are generally pronounced as new at the beginning. New, just like the adjective new. This, for example, is a new type of video for me, so new. And so how would you say this word? Neutral. Neutral. And again, we're going to practice it in sentences. Have a look first, and then listen and repeat. We need a more neutral color for this room. We need a more neutral color for this room. And another sentence here. I tried to stay neutral in that whole argument. I tried to stay neutral in that whole argument. And we've got one more word to go, just one, and we're going to finish this video. And this word is... In here, the problem is generally not sounds, because students know how to pronounce those vowels inside this word. But the problem here is the stress. Where would you put the stress in this word? The first or the second syllable? What do you think? Well, listen and check. Alarm. Alarm. It's the second syllable, and it's a really, really strong stress. So make sure you say alarm, stressing the second syllable. And now let's practice this in sentences. Have a look. I forgot to set an alarm for this morning. I forgot to set an alarm for this morning. They tried to get away as the alarm went off. They tried to get away as the alarm went off. Go off, by the way, a super useful phrasal verb to use with anything that switches itself on, as in alarms, or anything that rings, as in mobile phones. Okay, I need to always make sure that my mobile phone doesn't go off when I'm recording those videos. And on that note, thank you very much for watching the video. Thank you for staying until the end. I hope you really enjoyed it. And until the next Grammar, Vocabulary and Pronunciation Digest. I'll see you there. Thank you for watching and enjoy the learning process.